So I was in the gym and I was working out on the floor. So I was doing push-ups and sit-ups on the floor. And next to me, there was one woman and she was just doing the, I think, hip abductor machine. I was just minding my own business doing my workouts. And then when I was resting, I saw one other man. He was working out too, but on the other side of the gym. He walked over to our side of the gym and he went up to the girl who was near me and he just like started a conversation with her and got her phone number and everything. And, I mean, obviously I could tell, right? Because in the past, I also cold approached women. And after he did that, because I was like, I couldn't help but hear that, right? Because it was right next to me. So after hearing that, he finished up, he walked by me and I just tapped his shoulder and said, "Nice work, bro." And he smiled. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty happy that I said that. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And that's when I realized, not really like I realized, but I was reminded of how important it is to be a nice and supportive person to everyone around you. I think that when we start self-improvement, we often become cold and we become a bit ruder to people. I don't know if you've noticed this, if you started, when you started self-improvement, depending on what creator you used to watch or what books you used to read. But it seems that the majority of men who begin self-improvement often start out being a kind of meaner person than they were before. And of course, I don't think this is a good thing to do, but it's kind of hard not to, because when you start self-improvement, this is the first time in your life probably that you realize that everyone around you is a bitch. That sounds a bit mean, right? But that's what I'm trying to get at. When you start self-improvement, you realize that everyone around you is not really high quality. Most people are wasting their time and not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. Most people are fooling around, wasting time, wasting their lives. And we found this out when we started self-improvements, when we were wasting our own times and lives. So when we started, we were doing better, right? We started not wasting time, started taking opportunities. We were starting to take more opportunities in improving our mental health, our physical health, going to the gym, eating healthy, doing productive work, sleeping on time, etc. But then when we look at other people who don't do that, people who don't go to the gym as often, people who don't sleep on time or sleep enough every day, or people who don't journal and don't, maybe these are the more obsessive things, I guess, but don't meditate, don't journal. They don't really do productive work, which is a big one. Or they don't have a schedule for the day. People who don't have these things, we thought of them as like us, right? We thought of them as normal people, right? Because we were also normal people back then before we started self-improvements. But then we got fucking depressed. And they didn't. I mean, they're still probably depressed, but they just don't know it yet. And when we started doing better in life, we look down at these people because they are where we once were, and we're not there anymore. So we think of ourselves as better than them because we started improving. This is not necessarily true, considering that they could also start improving in the next day, but we just don't know, right? And I don't think it benefits anyone to just be mean to people and see other people as worse than you. I know I've said this in past videos, by the way, in which you should put yourself on a pedestal instead of putting other people on a pedestal. Basically, increase your ego a lot, right? And this is beneficial advice for people who are very low in self-confidence and have trouble getting the courage to go speak to girls or go speak to guys and make friends. That advice of increasing your ego drastically helps those people, the people who think they have a mental illness even though they sleep 1 hour a day. People who think they have a mental illness because they jerk off like 15 times a day and watch porn, right? and do bad habits, those people need the advice of increasing the ego. But when you're seeing yourself as a mean, negative person who's kind of looking at the world in a hateful way, because you probably watched a lot of influencers who say like, oh, other people suck. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe like you're watching Andrew Tate as well, who's comes off a little bit more, on the, he's positive, but maybe he can sound a little bit negative, right? And it depends on the what you watch, right? But don't let these affect your mind too much, because you still have to remember that being a nice person is something that matters. Discouraging people from starting self-improvement doesn't help anyone. If you're someone who watches Hamza, right? If you think about the Adonis character, right? Would he be mean to other people? Probably not. If you think about the most top G in your in your circle, in your community, if you think about that guy who's just so successful, the most successful guy, he's probably nice to most people, probably nice to you. He's probably treating everyone with kindness. Maybe he personally looks at the world evilly, because sometimes as a man, you need that dark energy so that you can compete with other men and win. But the problem is expressing that dark energy out into the public won't really do you any good. You should always be a kind, loving, caring, charismatic, warm person to everyone you come across. You got to be friendly with everyone. Don't be this guy who's just acting all like alpha and shit, because you're just gonna look like a bitch. Like, for example, right? I'm not muscular enough to go out and start like looking like a fucking alpha, which I know maybe it sounds a bit subjective, but I'm just saying that if you try to come off as too much, if you do too much and you just try to act like you're so much better than everyone else, no one's going to like you. Unfortunately, no one's going to like you. People like Andrew Tate can do that because he is at that level, I would say. He's at the level in which people will still respect him even if he says like, I'm better as fuck than you. I'm better than you. Because he's proved it. But the problem is if you do that same thing and you act like you're better than everyone else, they won't like you because you just look like a bitch who's lying to himself and everyone else. So, in general, I think even if you're successful as fuck, then you should still be humble. Not humble. I think humble's a bad word, actually. Humble means like having a low view of oneself. I don't really like that. Having a low self-esteem. I don't like that much. I think humility is actually important in a man. I think the word humble is just thrown around too much. Like if you're proud of yourself, people tell you to be humble, like it's bullshit, right? You should have a certain level of pride as a man. But yeah, humility is important. You shouldn't think of yourself as so much better than everyone else just because you started self-improvement 1 week ago. Just because you didn't jerk off for 3 days, you're so much better than everyone else. Like, it's not that deep. And you shouldn't express that too much. That's what I'm saying. It's okay to have that dark energy inside you, thinking that, oh yeah, that guy's fucked. I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna steal his future wife, his future car, everything. That's a very normal thing to think of as a man. But don't let these emotions drown you. Don't let these feelings drown you and turn you into a negative, hateful man. Because those men aren't really on self-improvement. If you're a hateful person, you can't really say that your life has improved that much. Because if you think about it, if you are a hateful person, think about it. If you improved your life enough, wouldn't you be positive? If you improved your life enough and became a better person, a better version of yourself, wouldn't you be nicer to other people, right? Because you'd be pretty fucking happy, right? If you were like a jacked guy and you had like a bunch of money and you liked what you were doing, you were able to do your passion, your dream work, and you're becoming successful at it, and you have respect of other people, you would be nicer, right? You would go outside in the morning sunlight. You'd be like, let's fucking go, a good day today. And you'd be like complimenting people who walk by. You'd be greeting people very nicely. You'd be super nice to everyone. If something bad happened to you, like someone cut you in line, you wouldn't be that pissed because it's like, it's a nice day, bro. I'm not gonna like start something. It's bullshit. But if you're miserable, you feel like shit that day. You feel like shit. You only got 3 hours of sleep last night. You are not performing well in your work. It's not doing good. You're not performing well. You skip the gym 3 days in a row. If you feel like that, if you've done that, then you're probably going to be a meaner person to people who you come across. You're probably going to come off meaner without even realizing it. you're probably just gonna start. Yeah, you'll just kind of be cold. You'll kind of like stay in your own little bubble and just go. And if someone pisses you off, you might snap at them, or you just might look like pissed off at everyone walking across you. Just like look slightly pissed off at everyone for existing. Like, it's so stupid, right? You want to come off as a positive, supportive person. You want to be the guy that makes other people smile. That is also part of your self-improvement. That's part of your personal development. Your charisma, your personality. It's very important in self-improvement as well, along with going to the gym and getting good physical health and, having the body that attracts women and gains the respect of men, but also being that guy who everyone can talk to, that guy who is warm to everyone, and everyone's like, oh, that guy's such a positive guy. Everyone's thinking that you're just filled with positive energy. When you talk, positive energy just spreads to other people as well and makes them feel better as well. You want to be that kind of guy because people like that kind of guy, right? You want to be the kind of guy that other people like. Don't say that you don't really think about what people think about you. Like, you fucking care a little bit, at least. Maybe you don't care what your loser friends think of you if you don't want to play video games, but you do care what generally people think of you, which is why you're improving your charisma and your speaking skills and your cold approach skills and your making friends skills as well. They're all important. So make sure you're focusing on that too. Don't become a negative person just because you started self-improvement. Even if you've been on it for a few years and some guy hasn't even started yet, support that guy. Encourage him to start self-improvement too. If he doesn't want to do it, I understand. Like, okay, yeah, he might be kind of like a bit of a loser, fine. But just drop it. Don't be mean to him just because he doesn't want to do it. Honestly, it's better off you just let it go. Like, of course, right? You should not make other people feel bad, because that's kind of a reflection of your own weakness, a reflection of your own inner weakness. There's a book I read. It's called The King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. I just finished it recently by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette. And I read that book, and the king is the one that basically represents your charisma, technically. The king is the one who's benevolent, generous, kind to everyone, and he treats everyone with respect and treats his men well, treats the men who follow his, the rules that he sets, and they do very good things for the kingdom. So basically, the king has two weak forms, technically, right? So if you're too much into the king, it's bad. If you're too less into the king, it's also bad. It's obviously the two polars are the tyrant and the weakling. I'll make a video about this book later, but I'll just say something. There was an example in the book about General Patton. If you know who General Patton is, he's a very respected, revered general in the, I think, U.S. Army. Hopefully I don't get that wrong. I'm sure he was in the U.S. Army, a general, and he was a very aggressive guy, definitely very aggressive. He does not like to see weakness in other men. And there was the book talked about him, an event that happened, and he was basically visiting wounded soldiers who were wounded in battle. So they were in the hospital, lying on the hospital beds, and he was paying his respects to them. But then he saw a man who said he wasn't on the bed or anything. He was just sitting down, and he said that his nerves couldn't handle it anymore. His nerves were shot. So he didn't really have a physical injury, I don't think. He was say he can't take it anymore, and it was something about his nerves. And General Patton, I guess, didn't think about that as a real injury. So he slapped that soldier across the face and yelled at him, he screamed at him in his face and sent him back to the front lines. He said, take him to the front lines, literally the front. In the book, it says that General Patton, although it was, it shows that he doesn't really give a shit, and men need to fight and they can't be weak. They did also mention that event showed that General Patton even has his own inner weakling, which I don't mean to disrespect the guy, of course, he's an amazing general, but very, very respected. But the book says this, like, people often act out in aggression or anger towards others because they have a weakness in themselves. And if you do the same thing, if you're being mean to people, rude to people, even if you're physically harming people, which is like already kind of far, right? But if you're doing those things, it's often certain that you have your own inner weakness that you have to address, because right now you're just projecting it onto other people instead of addressing it within you. So that's something to take note of. This video won't change your life. You will.